a quick moment and update you on where we're at in our homeschool year and what's been working, what hasn't worked, where we're going, and just like a little update. Hopefully it's short. I always try to keep it short. I don't feel like I can. So this is all gonna change. I still have like Christmas over there and it's February, but that's okay. So I am gonna change that out. I've changed the homeschool room 3 times in the last year. So does anybody else do that? Is anybody else just like constantly redoing it? It's not exactly how I want it yet, but it's gonna get there. So I have a 6.5-year-old and an almost 5-year-old, and my almost 5-year-old, she's been doing preschool, but she really has just kind of started doing some kindergarten stuff because she was ready for it. I say kindergarten like loosely. So the curriculum that we're using is Logic of English, and I absolutely love that curriculum. I'll probably do another video with a full review on that. But they have 4 levels in the foundations, which is ages 4 to 7. And so my son is actually in the last level of that right now. And my daughter, who is the 4-year-old, she is just started level A, and I believe we just did a review today. So we're on lesson 11 in hers, and there's 40 lessons in each. And we're doing about 3 lessons a week right now. And she just started doing more of this kind of like structured stuff, but still being like on her time. I'm very flexible with her being so young, and it's going really well. I'm so glad we found it last year, and I love it. So that's really awesome. So we're gonna stick with that. As far as when we finish, when my son is finishing Foundations D, it's kind of tricky because I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to be ready to go into Essentials, which is the next part of Logic of English's program. And it is for ages 8 and up. And excuse me, so I would like something to kind of bridge to there. So I think what I'm going to use, and I have it printed and ready to go, but who knows between now and then if I change it. But I have the Good and the Beautiful level 3 language arts. So I think that's what we're going to do, at least attempt it. I don't really have any other ideas right now for that, what we would do in the meantime, other than maybe just continue practicing the phonograms that he knows and just continue reading and building up his reading. He is reading about 3rd grade level books right now, and he still has a lot of like confidence boost readers, is what I call them, but he loves like his S-Born readers. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at with language arts for him. And as for my daughter, we're gonna just continue Logic of English. Once she finishes A, we'll just move into B and so on, and we'll see what goes from there. As for math, so when we first started math for my son, he was 5, and he had attended the first semester at a public charter school in kindergarten. And after that, I brought him home. So I was kind of like trying to feel where he was at, what he knew, and things like that. So I was kind of just doing things on my own, and quickly realized that he needed a more structured curriculum style for math, because he knew way more than I expected him to know at that time. So I went with the Master Books Charlotte Mason style math lessons for a living education, which I loved. However, I was a little unsure of it when we got it and was looking through, because I feel like personally for my family that first part of it is more like a pre-K level of math. It's writing numbers 0 to 9, which he was well past at that point. He'd also went to preschool at a VPK as well. So once we kind of like got powered through some of that, it was good. There were things about it that I absolutely loved. I love the story layout. If you're familiar with it, you know that there's the story of the twins and how they visit their grandparents, and it's really cute. And he did enjoy the stories. He is not a worksheet kid at all. So we kind of quickly realized that as well, that this is just not really working for him. But going back to how I said the first part was the preschool level, I think that the second half is definitely more of the first grade level, because it even says it's level 1. And so, you know, a lot of homeschool curriculum doesn't follow actual grades, it's on levels, and it was doing time and place value and things like that. So it took us a little bit with the place value, but once he got it, he was awesome. But I knew we would not be able to stick with that curriculum because of his learning style. So then I found Moffitt Girls math. I feel like there's another name for it, but on Teachers Pay Teachers. And that was good. It wasn't great. So I was like, I just don't feel like this is what is working for him. He liked the centers. If you're familiar with their program, it's a good program. She has everything there for you, which is really nice. But there's centers, there's worksheets, there's the lesson, and it's a mini lesson. I wish the lessons would have been a little bit more elaborate, but that's a completely other thing. So we enjoyed that for a little bit. So we did that for a few months, and I was like, this isn't it. This isn't gonna work. Because he liked the centers, but not the worksheets. He was just like not into it. He would fight me, and like, I'm not gonna push him because he's still young. He was like not quite 6 when we started that. And then I found Right Start. And Right Start Math is my favorite. We love it. It's been awesome. It is very minimal worksheets if you aren't familiar with it. It's very games-based and manipulatives, hands-on, just very kinesthetic, which is his learning style for sure. So we started with level B, and we are wrapping that up. We are going to be done with that in probably a month, I would say, roughly, give or take a little. And we've really enjoyed that. He's really enjoyed that. It's been wonderful for him. I know a lot of people say that it's very teacher intensive, but I think any math curriculum, any curriculum for young elementary is teacher intensive, because you're having to teach them. Like, you can't just hand them a workbook and say, hey, here you go. So for me, that's not, I felt like it was going to be that way no matter what we chose. So I love it because I can do the lesson with him. We do a lesson a day, roughly. Well, I would say sometimes we fit in 2, but never more than that. Maybe in the beginning when it was like a lot of review, but I wanted to start there. But now, like, once we got to where we needed to be, a lesson a day, sometimes 2, but never less than a lesson a day. Like, I didn't have to break it up. If I would have broke it up, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. I would have done like half the lesson one day and the next half the next day. But what I will do sometimes is, because it's very games based, is I will do the lesson with him, and then we might save the game for that evening after dinner or with dad, or, something along those lines. So it's to me, it's actually less teacher intensive in my opinion when it comes to elementary curriculum, because we can break it up a little in that sense. Like, sometimes the lesson's short, and the biggest learning game, or the time consuming part of it, is the game that you would play. And you don't play a game every lesson. So anyway, just to recap that. So because of Right Start being so wonderful, I have started level A with my preschooler / kindergartner, whatever you want to call her. I think that's more of a kindergarten curriculum, and she is on lesson 16. There's like 140 lessons roughly in the levels, and she's great with it. It's funny though, she likes worksheets, so I've been having to kind of like supplement here and there. I was using the Charlotte Mason Master Books math lessons for a living education with her at first, but I just really like the Right Start, and I think that's just going to be a really good fit. So excuse me, that's what I'm continuing with her, and I think that's going to go really well. It's been so far. She's enjoying it. I think at that age, it's just very fun to be hands-on, and it's got the cute songs, and it's just a really good curriculum without it being so like rigid and anything like that. So that's what we're doing. We have also brought in Brave Writers Jot It Down program, and we just started that this month, and I'm really excited about it. We are starting with, I don't know if you're familiar with Brave Writers Jot It Down program, but it is wonderful. I highly recommend it. It's for ages 5 to 8 in the philosophy of basically as a parent, you're the scribe for them, for your children, because they can get out their thoughts verbally much better than they can than if they were to write them out. So we are doing that, and our first project is art appreciation. So kind of this month we've been focusing on art appreciation, and that's been really fun. Like, for example, one of the things that they have you do, that is suggested you do, is to take postcards from the gift shop and match them with a piece of artwork that you find in the museum. And they can write a little note on the back and we just went to the Salvador Dali Museum, and I got them little sketchbooks from Amazon for a couple bucks, and brought those with some colored pencils, and they got to sit in front of their like favorite paintings, and then they would kind of recreate their own, and they loved it. It was awesome. So we're kind of just building on that throughout this month. So that is definitely something we're sticking with. I can see us not using it every month, but definitely continuing to use it as we go. And then the other thing that we are going to add is, so math, let me back up. Math and language arts is my biggest focus when it comes to early elementary years. And then we can kind of slowly add things in or piece things in. I originally started with science as well. And although we liked it, it was just a lot of work for me to keep up on all the experiments and all the stuff we needed for it. So I was like, I'm just gonna give this a backseat and let's focus on reading and math, and let's get those foundational skills in first, and then we can slowly kind of add things in. So for my son, who is 6.5, we will be adding in my story, and I'm really excited about that. Even I know it's another Masterbooks program, so we'll see how it goes for him, but I think it'll be really good. I think he's a little bit more mature when we started the math curriculum with it, but because it's not math, it's kind of it's different, So we're gonna start that in just a few weeks, and he's actually really excited about it. I don't think he even really understands that much about it, but he's excited, so it is what it is. And then we will be adding, and I'm only doing that with him. I'll let little sister hang out with us for that, but I'm not gonna worry about her doing like a worksheet. But if she does want to, something that's really convenient for me is having the printer right here, and I just run a copy and here you go and whatever. So for science though, we are going to start, I don't know, a couple more months. We're gonna start The Good and the Beautiful, marine biology. And I love that there are unit studies and they can go from kindergarten to 6th grade. Some of them are a little bit older or have a broader range. But I love that. And I love that they're shorter. So it's not a full year curriculum, because I was looking at that originally. My son was really wanting to do Apologia, and I just didn't, I would love to do that in the future. I just don't think right now he would be really ready for something like that. So I was like, and it's a full year, which I know you don't have to follow it directly, but it's nice to have that laid out for you in that sense. So I feel like if we didn't go through it the year, it would be like, well, if we're doing bits and pieces, kind of like, what's the point? So The Good and the Beautiful, I love that I keep looking at it, it's over here, is that it is not planned out for a year. They have a lot of different studies. So we'll see how this one goes, but I'm really excited about it. I think it's gonna be really fun. We plan on doing, I think, a lesson a week. That would be wrong, I don't remember. I think like this marine biology has, I think, 13 lessons. So I was thinking one a week and pushing it. So I planned it out that if we started in May, for example, or April, one of those, that it will push us into midsummer, which would be really great, because obviously marine biology, it would be nice to like go to the beach more often and stuff like that. So that is the plan there. And I was also starting it before public school was ending, so that we could go visit the aquarium and, some really cool field trips along with that. And for Bible, we've been using Picture Smart Bible, and I love that curriculum. I wish I was more consistent with it. That's one of my goals this year, is to be more consistent with doing it. I feel like because we were so focused on the language arts and math, that kind of got put to the wayside, and we weren't doing it every week. Plus we started co-op, which we love. We started it really over a year ago now, which runs from August to May. And it's Mondays and Wednesdays that we go. And then we have dance on Tuesdays. So we just didn't have a lot of extra time. And my oldest is in a public charter school still. So we still have to take her. Sometimes my husband brings her, but I'm always the one picking her up. So that's kind of hindered some of the homeschooling time for us. But we've been getting better. And my goal right now is just a lesson a week. So we plan to continue with that. And I really like that. I would like to eventually branch off with that and kind of supplement with other things. We do have an abundance of other supplemental resources that we use. I like to change it up or just add something in, especially my son right now with Rights Art. It's measuring and understanding, like, it's really volume, even though it doesn't say that, but like measuring 3D shapes and understanding how much space that is, and or how whatever. So it's kind of been a little difficult for him. So one of the things I have is an Usborne measuring book that he can just pick up as when he's free to pick that up whenever. And so he can look through that, and sometimes just those little things can really help. Because I saw that it was a little bit harder for him. It's more challenging is what I should say. So I know money is coming up. I know my lessons and what's coming up. So I know money is coming up in math. So today for our morning basket, And that's another thing, we don't do morning basket every day, which I'm totally fine with because it's just, that's how life is. But with our morning basket, I got a book from the library and it's just called Money Math, and it's simple, but it's really cute and it's perfect for what I needed it for our morning basket. And I just set out like a divided section plate thing and put the coins in there, and we just went through it and kind of did a hands-on thing, and he was really excited about that. And I had Santa for Christmas brought us some educational DVDs from Rock and Learn, and we really like those. So I forgot about the one that was about money and math, and my son was like, oh, can we put this one in then? Because after we did the morning basket with the money math book and stuff, and he was like, oh, I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So put that in for him. So that's kind of helped, like, okay, there's something to look forward to in math for him. So we do a lot of things like that. I was trying to remember if there was anything else that we are doing or adding or taking away. Not really. So I think that's it. And I hope this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. I know I love watching these videos and seeing what other people are doing and what they're using and what's working and what their lifestyle is like how things work for them. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below and I'll be happy to answer that. And I look forward to doing more of these because I'm just getting started.